Thank you for joining me for 25 gifts under $10. Today we are going to make a book box. So let's get started. So here are the supplies you're going to need. Okay, so for the base of the box, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 10 by 8.5 of a light to medium weight chipboard. You're going to need 1 piece that is 10 by 3 1/8. Then you're going to need 3 pieces that are 9.5 by 3. Then you are going to need 4 pieces that are 8 by 3. And you're going to need 1 piece of lightweight chipboard. I started out at 9 1/4 by 7 3/4, but you do have to trim it to fit in the end. Now on to paper that we're going to need to make this. You're going to need 1 piece that is 7.5 by 12. This is going to cover our spine on the outside. And then the same paper, you're going to need one that is 4.5 by 12. Now I had some paper that I had got from Crafter's Companion that was 12 by 18. And so I just cut mine in half. So this is 9 by 12. And it's a fairly heavyweight paper. And that's going to be the cover of my book. Now for the inside cover pieces, you're going to need 2 pieces that are 9 3/4 by 8 1/4. To go around the inside edges of our box, you're going to need 4 pieces that are 4 by 12, and then a matching piece. Right here is just a 12 by 12 sheet, but I will cut it down later. Now, to go around the outside of our box that will be visible, I took some paper. It stars on one side, but it's kind of a cream, light beige, and we're going to score it to make little lines. So these pieces are 4.5 by 12. So you're going to put it down so that you're making the score lines on the side that's not going to show. And you're just going to come through here, and every 1/8 of an inch you're going to score. Okay, later on we will use some distress ink to kind of highlight our little marks. But this is going to kind of make it look a little bit like pages of a book. You know, when you have a closed book. So that's why we're doing that. So now we're going to start assembling our box. And we're going to take 2 of the 9.5 by 3, so the long ones, and we are going to glue them together. And I just used some hot glue and squirted it around. Okay, now we're going to take the shorter pieces, the 8 by 3s. As you see, just put glue, hot glue all over it, and then just match it up, press it down and stick it together. And then we'll do the same with the other smaller ones. The reason for the long ones why we only doubled the one set, which will be the set that goes in the front of the box, is we also have the spine, and then the back of the box will kind of make a double. And that's why I didn't double it, but you could double that piece if you wanted as well. So now that we have these stuck together, we're going to put them together. So we're going to be putting them together like this. I'm just showing you. I'm going to set the small ones inside of the long ones. Okay, so I'm going to take my glue gun and just run a bead of glue on the edge, along the edge of the small one, and then we'll stand it straight up onto the long one. And just hold it in place for a moment until it sets up. Hot glue sets up relatively fast. I'm going to do the same thing with the other small one. I realized I was out of camera, so I'm trying to get in camera. It's hard to get in camera on here. Anyway, we're going to put glue on there, just on the edge, and then you just take it and stand it up. And you just want to try to make sure you have your piece nice and straight. Otherwise your box will be wonky. Now you can see that for part of these I used an old Priority mailbox, and it's fine to use a corrugated cardboard for these side pieces. I would not use it for the top or bottom of the box or for the outside spine. You want something that's a little, corrugated cardboard can be bent, so you don't want that for the top or the bottom because it may end up getting bent. But for these inside pieces, that's fine if you have an old corrugated box to use that as part of your board for your box. So here I'm just showing you how it's going to kind of fit together once we're done. Okay, so now we're just going to add glue onto the edges and put on our last piece. So I do one side and then I'll do the other side. Okay, just run a bead of glue there. And then just get this end. Again, just make sure you're getting it nice and squared so your box won't be wonky. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the outsides of our box. So we're going to take one of the pieces of paper that will be our cover, and we're going to attach it to the chipboard. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you know which edge you want to be the front and which edge is going to be on toward the spine. The one that's going to be toward the spine is the one that you will just line your chipboard up with. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take some tacky glue and I am just going to cover this, and I decide it's going too slow, so I take my lid off and just squish some out onto here. And I'm just going to take a sponge brush and just cover this whole piece of chipboard here. You want to be sure you have this covered all the way to the edges. You could use a regular paintbrush if you don't have a sponge brush. You could use an old credit card or some type of a scraper. You just want to make sure you get a nice even coat. Not too thick, but you don't want it thin either because you want this to stick down. Now making sure there again you know which piece is going to be at the spine, because you're going to line this up. Just kind of center it and then line it up to the edge, flatten it down, and then we are going to take our bone folder and just really rub this to get it well attached. Okay, and then we are going to repeat this for our other piece. I'm just slipping this under my mat for the moment. You want to use a fairly good glue. I don't recommend using ATG tape because actually when you're doing something like this, having a layer of glue to use to bond your paper, it actually adds some strength when it dries that you don't get from ATG tape. So that's why I'm using glue, because this will actually add a bit more strength, a bit more durability. So now we're going to do the spine piece, and very similar. I don't put on quite as much glue when I'm doing the spine because the paper that I'm using to cover the spine is actually like a copy paperweight paper. It's not cardstock, and I don't want too much because I don't want to soak the paper. Whereas with the top and bottom of the box, that's a very heavyweight cardstock. It's probably 110 pound. So I just fit this right in, and we do the same thing as far as smoothing it all out. Okay, now we are going to get this put together. So when we're doing this, if you have a different pattern, you want to make sure you know which one you want to be your top and which one you want to be your bottom. Now when we line these up, you're going to want your edges to line up and match, top and bottom with your spine piece. And you're going to want probably about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch between, because you have to be able to bend. And so I'm using a fine line bottle just to get this here coated in glue, and then I'm just going to line it up and press that down, and then flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing. You just really want to go over this to make sure it's attached and smooth and you have glue everywhere. If you don't leave a gap, you will have problems when you go to try to bend your cover. So you want to make sure you leave that gap. That gap needs to be about twice as wide as your chipboard. So one way to do it, make sure you have it, is if you have two pieces of chipboard together, you can just stand it up and make sure it fits in. Okay. Now, we are going to, I'm just kind of showing you, if you had the chipboard, okay, you can just draw a line there to do your miters. You want to miter so there's just a little space, and you can save your corners just in case you didn't get it correct and you need to put it in. Okay, now I'm just going to take my bone folder and just kind of gently bend my paper up. I did tear it there, but it's fixable. Just try to be gentle, fold it up over your edges, kind of get it so it knows where you're going to want it to go when we come to glue it down. And you can just take your bone folder and push in at the corners so that you'll have a nice neat corner. Okay, you're just going to continue this all the way around. And then after we get this where all the edges have kind of been manipulated up where we want them to go, we'll start gluing. And there I realized that corner was not going to match up, so I took one of those little scrap pieces and glued it down in the corner. Now we're just going to take our glue and we're going to go around the edges and then just simply get it over and smooth it down. And take your bone folder and go along the outside edge. It gives it a nice smooth finish. And I'm going to glue all of the cover pieces down before I do the spine. Yeah, and then come in and do the spine piece because it goes over the two of them. And press down on your cracks and smooth it. Now you can see where I tore it. You just get it stuck back down. You're not really going to see that once we're done anyway. Okay. I really enjoy making boxes. I find them to be a lot of fun to figure out and create. Now we're going to put in the spine cover for the inside. And so what you're going to do is just kind of line it up and then just fold it to get the right, make sure you have the right length. I was going to use scissors and I decided to do my paper trimmer just to make sure I get a nice straight even edge, which I then managed to mess up. Okay. And then we're just going to put glue all over it. And then just center it right in there, making sure you get everything nice and straight and even. Then use your bone folder and gently use your fingers in your bone folder. Do not use the point of your bone folder when you're going in on the creases. You want to get the creases to start folding. If you find you missed a spot, like I did, just come in with a little glue, get it in there, and work into those creases. And if it starts to buckle, then you're just going to come in and smooth it as you're doing it, because you want to get that working so that your cover is going to fold nice and easily. Okay, now we are going to put down our inside cover pieces. And we're going to do this just by putting glue all around the edges and then centering those pieces nice and neat. Okay, and then I'm putting some glue right on the edges because I want to make sure those edges are stuck down. Then make sure you have your pattern going the correct way if you have a pattern, which I do. And just really work it down. Get it smoothed down, wipe up any excess glue. I wrinkled my corner there, so I had to kind of work on that to fix that a little bit. Check your edges if they're not glued down good, add in a little more glue. Okay, now our box is going to come in and fit in here like this. Now I decide to add some of these Tim Holtz corner pieces to my corners. So you just kind of slip them on, and I just use my pliers to smash down the edges so that they'll hold on. I'm going to put them on the front and back corners. And as I'm doing this, I realized I forgot to put my magnets in. So I kind of set my box here, and I just put some magnets on the edges, and then I'm going to close it. I'm putting some tape on it. I'm going to close it down so they'll stick to my inside lid. So I just get them in place. And because I forgot to add the magnets in, I'm just going to cut a little strip from some leftover paper that matches the inside. And I'm going to come in here and then just carefully glue this, or I'm going to use ATG tape, and put this down over my magnets to cover it. My magnet should have got put on before I put the inside paper on. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add the paper that we did the scoring, that is going to be the outside, that's going to look like our book pages. And so you just kind of want to center your sheet, and just come up here, fold the sides up, and you're going to add glue, and let's put the flap down. Okay, now my camera had went off and I didn't realize it, so I actually finished covering this. Anyway, you just go around the box and you cover. Now what I'm doing here is I have tea dye, distress ink, and I'm just coming in and rubbing it. I'm not doing a real heavy job, just lightly rubbing over. This will make the scoring stand out more, give it a little bit of an page look. So you can see on here what I did when the camera got cut off. I folded it over, and then the top pieces, I've glued them down. The bottom pieces are still loose, and you just centered the paper and wrapped it around. Now these are the pieces that are going to go on the inside, and so I scored at 1/4 of an inch, and that's going to get folded down. And then you're just going to take a little bit of glue, and I'm trying out the new glue here just to see how it works. And you're just going to come in and fold it down. Now what I found is I think this glue is a bit wet, and it kind of makes your paper want to curve, which isn't really going to matter for this project. But then as a comparison, I decided to take one of my craft bonds that I got at the Dollar Tree, come in here and do the same thing, put glue along the edge, and then come in and fold it down. You're going to see it doesn't try to curve as much, and that's because it's not. But I mean, I think the one from the Dollar Tree will work okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take one of your long pieces, on the long side of the box. Okay, and you're going to put that in there and then fold it and crease it and fit it in there. And then come in here and then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to crease there. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim it to probably about 1/2 inch because you don't need as much. Okay, and then I have a shorter piece that I already cut to fit. Now I'm going to show you how to do it. So you're going to line on the shorter side, you're going to line one edge up and then come in here and fold it. And then double check to make sure you got your fold and it's going to cover that because you're going to cut that on the fold. So you're not going to have any overhang on the short sides. Okay, so what you're going to do, I'm just going to spread this paper out so it's out of my way. You want to line it up at the top. You want it maybe 1/8 of an inch below. You're just going to come in here and put glue all along the edge and into the corners and along the bottom. Okay, now you're going to take your paper, going to line it up, line the top up, and then come in and crease it down, push into your corners so you can make sure you got that in good. Then you're going to fold that little flap down because we didn't put glue there yet. You're going to come in and glue it down. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other long side. Okay, you're going to come in, you're going to do the other long side. Same as we did the first one. Get it all in there, get it smoothed down good. Glue our edges. Now, when we come to do the shorter sides, you're going to come in here, you're going to put your glue in, and then you're going to see this is why we cut those, because that's going to overlap and it's going to give us a nice finished look without a lot of bulk. So once we get this done, wipe off any excess glue, cut your corners just down to the box. Now take your pieces and just fold them down. We're not going to do anything. Trim off any little extra flaps you might have. Now my box had not been, the bottom of my box had not been completely flat, so I just flexed it a little. When you're putting this on, you do have to make sure you do not get it into the fold. So first thing I'm going to do here is just glue these corners down together. Now, I'm going to come in and I'm going to put glue all along here. And that one spot where I don't have paper, I just put it right onto the cardboard. And you're just going to run your glue all around on the beige paper. We're not doing anything with the inside one yet. Once you get a good glue all around and make sure you're like out close to the edges, you want to take this and you want to center this neatly. Make sure you have it lined up well. You want your box back right to the edge but not into the gap. And you're going to come in here and take your bone folder and push that paper down. Now we'll come in here and we'll put glue onto these other little flaps, and we're going to get in here and we're going to push it down and get it smoothed out, and we will go all around the box doing that. Okay, and we just get this nice and smoothed down. Check, make sure our box is closing well, and it is. I get everything smoothed down, and I wipe up that little bit of excess glue that was sticking out there in the back. Now we're going to get ready to put the inside piece. You need to put your cardboard in and see if it fits, and so I come in and I end up trimming off a little sliver, and I decide I want to take off just another little sliver. Now I'm taking maybe 1/8 of an inch, which is why I was showing you just a sliver. Now for this, I'm just going to use ATG tape. And I'm just going to come in here and center it on my paper, which I had trimmed down so that it was about 1 inch larger than my cardboard all around. That's all you need. And then I just come in here, miter my corners. And again, I'm just going to do ATG tape and just fold this all up. And then this will be cover the bottom of our box and make everything look neat. And so here again, I'm just coming along and I'm just using ATG tape for this part. And because this is a cheap piece, it's not really chipboard, it's from a box or something anyway. So my tape stuck. And I added a little bit of glue in here. Then we're going to get our box out. Now we're going to come in here, put it in, and get it in there flat. And then come in and just really press down with our bone folder, making sure it's nice and neat. Okay, so I messed up on my magnets everywhere. I didn't get my magnets in here either. So I'm going to add magnets to my corner. And to do this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of cardboard and I'm going to glue my magnet down. Except I'm thinking, I guess, what am I? Yeah, because I started with paper and I realized I wanted cardboard. Okay, a little piece of cardboard. And I'm going to trim the cardboard up close to the edge of my magnet. And it's going to be able to sit right there like that. And now I'm just going to put it onto a scrap of the paper that matches the inside of our box. And I'm just going to take this and I'm just going to fold it around the magnet and cover it. And like I said, this is because I messed up on putting magnets in and I wanted it to close magnetically. And so when I get this done, I will add it onto the corner of my box. I'm just checking to make sure I have my magnets going the right way. Okay, and I'll just finish getting this one done and I will put it on the other corner. So I just want to point out, you know, even though I made errors on this box, like not putting my magnets where I wanted them and stuff, you can fix things. Don't give up and throw something out just because it didn't come out exactly how you wanted it. Okay, so now I am putting in the items that I had picked out for the gift for a woman, which is a face mask, a body scrub, a face scrub, a body lotion, and a face lotion. And I'm just deciding how I want to fit them into my box. Now, and then that's the little headband. Now I would put tissue paper and stuff on top of there to hold it in place. But that's our basic box. And I hope you enjoyed this video. You could make your box whatever size you needed for the items you want to put in it. So this is a fairly large box, but you wouldn't have to have it as big if you were doing a smaller gift. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you haven't subscribed, please do and click the bell to get notifications. And as always, have a happy, crafty day.